Are you winging it?
Winging it, yeah. One wing. That's one surgery I've been putting off for years. I don't want to even try. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody. So good to see you all. I'm already a little bit behind this morning, getting everything started, but we are grateful that you are here. Thank you for coming out to join in with us for our Bible class hour. We are so thankful for your presence. Come on in and get comfortable. We're grateful that you are here. We'll be starting our Bible study in just a moment. Just by way of announcement, Brother Michael Evans tells me that his younger brother is planning on obeying the gospel this morning in Phoenix, Arizona. So we are so grateful for that. He said he's just 1 year younger than himself, but we're so grateful that that is the case. Also, we're so glad to have Emmanuel here. This is his last Sunday in the States, and we weren't sure if he was going to have the opportunity to speak to us because we tried to get him as many other places to speak as possible. And we appreciate Brian doing most of the work along those lines, lining up places for Emmanuel to be. He even got him a place for today, but it's not until 2:30 this afternoon. He'll be going to Subligna Road to do his presentation there, and so pray for him as they travel this afternoon. But we're so glad he did have a Sunday that he could do his presentation for us. We've had a wonderful time getting to know Emmanuel even better over these last 5 years. But especially his sweet wife, Manali. We're grateful that she was able to come with him on this trip. I am sad to inform you that Manali's grandfather passed away during the night back in India. And she was very close to him and is, as you can imagine, taking it hard. And so pray for her. This will be a hard few days for her, especially until she gets back to her family. So please keep her in your prayers. Brother Emmanuel George has been a friend of this congregation for a long time. He came here as a student while he was at the Memphis School of Preaching and helped us knock on just about every door in Adairsville. And we have fond memories of Emmanuel from that time when he was just a wee pup. Still wet behind the ears, as they say, but he's grown up a lot. We are proud of the work that he is doing in India. He went back right after he graduated and got to work very diligently in India. He did work under a lot of people because of his relative inexperience in youth, and he did that for a number of years, but a couple of years ago he said, I got to start getting out on my own, and so he has his own congregation now and his own benevolent works, and he's working very diligently in India. And I guess for about the past 5 years or so, the eldership here at the Adairsville congregation has been overseeing his work and handling his funds for him. He has lost some support over the last couple of years, but has been quite successful on this trip, helping to make up that lost support and maybe even gain a little bit more, so we're grateful for that. He might not tell you this, but he and his sweet wife make it on about $880 a month from the United States. And if we send an American missionary over there to do half the work that he's doing, we'd be paying him $800 a week probably instead of $800 a month, probably more than that. And so we're so thankful that Brother Emmanuel is our missionary, our evangelist in Kurnool, India. A city of at least 500,000 people, where the vast majority are all Hindus. And so there's a lot of work to be done in India. We're grateful that Emmanuel is on the ground. I don't want to take up any more of his time. He's got a presentation for us to bring us up to speed about his work, and so we'll turn it over to him right now.
I got married, I just thought it would be better to start one more congregation apart from alongside working with my father. So what we did was we started off a congregation in a different end of the town. So it has been great, and we have a real good response, and we are working on it, and to get the church into the society and let the people know that we are there for them. So I want to begin this report or presentation by thanking our Heavenly Father for the opportunity just to be here, and also for the great work that you have been, the congregation here locally, and all the mission efforts that you are all involved in. Because without you guys, there wouldn't be any effort that we would make. Just imagine this: there's a remote area where they are able to hear the gospel just because of you, and it really matters because they are hearing the gospel. That's what needed to every one of us. So it means so much, and it means so much to us, and we are very much indebted to the congregation here. So as you know, I have been upgraded from my single status to married from the last visit, and it has been amazing since then. As you all have met my lovely wife, she is so cool, and she's so she is just a great encouragement for me, and she has been the first couple of days has been rough for her, but apart from that, so far till now, she is just enjoying her visit here in the States. And as you know, I graduated from the Memphis School of Preaching in 2014. As a matter of fact, I think it was 11 years ago in the month of April, probably 16th or around, you had the gospel meetings, and as students we came to Adairsville, and that's how our journey has started since then, and it has been really great so far. And as mentioned, we work in Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh. Kurnool is a small town with a population of 500,000. Yeah, it's big population, but land-wise, it is really small town. So the main areas we are focused on spreading the gospel, strengthening the churches, and making disciples. So this is what I have been trained for, and this is what we have been doing past few years. So as you know, on your right side, it is a map of India. Those who are really, I would say, unaware of India, where it is in the world map. I know it's a small country, but even in that, there is a state on the left side of we call it the Andhra Pradesh, where we are from. And if you could just see there, that is Kurnool district. That is a district of Kurnool, and they have so many counties, just like Gordon County, Bartow County, and several counties. So you see all these, each and every, we call them as mandals. Every mandal has few villages. So there are so many people. You get, once you just step outside of the house, you get to meet people. Unlike here, the areas are widespread. Sometimes when I first came to the States, it's really hard for me just to stay in a single house, because during the nights there's nobody, and it's absolutely not so quiet. Just imagine that. When you're used to a lot of sounds day in and day out, and just goes blank at night. Quiet. So, but I'm glad I got used to that, and it has been really amazing so far. So the goal of our mission is to think souls. I think this should be, and this will be, one of the main goal for each and every Christian, every congregation. And one of the main things that we are especially focused on is to bring our country, who worship the idols. 80% of the population worship the idols. Remember Paul when talking to the Thessalonians in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verses 9 and 10, how they were converted, turn to God from serving the idols to serving the living and true God. So that is our motto as well. As the Proverbs writer would say, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but and he that winneth souls is wise. And I believe it is everyone's obligation and everyone's duty to win souls for his kingdom, for our Heavenly Father, for the salvation he has provided us. So it is our responsibility to share the good news to everyone. And as you all enjoy the freedom here in America, it is so unfortunate for our country because our country is divided. Our people are divided according to their caste. In the Hindu religion, there is a god called Brahma, and he is the originator of the people, and that's what they believe when it comes to all these. And those who are emerged from his head are the higher caste people, and those are called Brahmins, and these are the priests and the teachers. So those who are emerged from the shoulders or hands are Kshatriyas. These are the people who are warriors and the rulers. And those who emerge from the thighs are called Vaishyas. And these are the farmers, traders, merchants. And the last part of this group originating from the god, from his feet are the Sudras. These are the laborers. So the Brahmins are the top caste people in India. It is not just within our state, it is not just within our town or city, but it is throughout India. It's not like you try to escape from it, you cannot. It is deeply rooted throughout the India, throughout the society. And apart from these four groups, there is another group called Dalits. And these are the groups who are the untouchables. And these are excluded from the towns and the places where the people are, the upper four castes live. And these are the ones mostly the Christians are from. Because when the Britishers were ruling us, I think if we go back, we had gained independence from them past 75 years ago. But if we go back to 100 years, there were a caste system, and people were not treated the same way as everyone else. The people from Brahmins and Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, they are divided. Not one group of people can step up to other caste people. It is highly impossible. Whatever their professions are, they are obligated to do that. So the excluded ones, the untouchables, are the ones mostly who have heard the gospel, because that's who the Brits have cared about. And that's when we started to know about the other people, the outside world. So that's how we got to know about the rest of the world. But if you think of India, why should we consider taking the gospel to India? Because India is a populated country. If you go back a couple of years ago, China used to be the biggest country throughout the world, but India has already surpassed it, and we are about 1.2 billion souls in it. The fields are hard, the fields are white, and they are ready for the harvest, but unfortunately we have very few workers. But again, 85% of the 1.2 billion souls, 85% come from the Hindu background, and 15% come from the Muslim background, and the rest of the world, rest of the population will be from the Christian background. When I say Christian, I mean it in a broader sense. But only 0.25% of 1% in India are the members of the Lord's Church, and those who discriminate against Christians is prevalent, and those who risk to convert into Christianity would eventually face a lot of loss of property and government services, and sometimes even death. So this is the basic and just a general idea from about the people from the India. As I mentioned earlier, India, we worship a lot of idols, and it is unfortunate to say this. I say this with a heavy heart. It is absolutely, it's just sad to say that 85% of our people worship the idols, and it's just sad. And one of the main goddess, our god for them, for the Hindus, is a cow. We have an expression in America as a holy cow, but unfortunately the cows are holy to the people in India. They worship them, and they are things that they do from the cows that we cannot even express. So it is just, I would say, I would say it's not at all that should not be done, but they are still there. They are doing that. So this is one of the elephant goddess in India, and this god is celebrated throughout India, and large people they gather and just make these kind of big statues, and again they worship for almost 10 days, and then the end of the 10th day they push the idols in the river, just sending him home. That's what they say. With addition to the gods, and we have also one more god who is worshipped by some of the Indians in India. So we have your president. He is worshipped as one of the gods, and he has some of the people. They constructed a temple for him, and the guy who is worshipping here is crazy, you would think, and he even fasts on every Friday so that your president, Mr. Trump, would have a good health and live longer. So I'm just telling you how the ideology of the people, how they think, whatever they think is God is, because whatever the object or whatever animal, whatever you just name it, they have gods in the form of that. So people worship a lot of idols in India, and our current mission is to evangelize to the people who have never heard the gospel by conducting the gospel meetings and encouraging those who have heard the gospel, the members, and preaching and in teaching them. And I do one-on-one Bible studies to those who are really interested, and we try to make that interested because most of our Christians come from the Baptist denominations, and it varies from place to place. If you go to a different part of our state, they would be Methodist, and if you go to a different part, then there will be Mennonite brethren, and so forth. But most of them are from the denominations, and we kind of teach them the gospel, and we baptize them and help them to plant the church and strengthen the churches, and training the preachers and leaders for these congregations to encourage the brethren. And also we kind of do the helping the need, help the people, those who are in need. These are the pictures that I have been preaching to the local brethren. As I mentioned earlier, there are many people who are from the church, but unfortunately, these brethren do not have a proper training in teaching or preaching. So we kind of try to encourage them by studying with them, by teaching them, and as I mentioned earlier, that is one of our main goals to teach them in a right way, to train them in a right way. And there on the right, I was having a one-on-one Bible study with a couple of denominational preachers, and we encourage them, to study the Bible with us, so that they can understand about the one true church. So, apart from preaching, apart from having the preachers meeting and the preachers workshop, we encourage. We go from village to village. You have seen the mandal. You have seen this. You see all these mandals. Every mandal, you just just go down 10 to 15 miles, you can enter into a village where there are numerous number of people. So we have very vast area. So what we try to do is we try to conduct the gospel meetings every village, nearby villages, and we try to teach them. So it's not like we kind of organize these gospel meetings. You just go into a village and there is a Christian family, and we try to preach them, and we just say that we are the preachers, and they have really huge respect for the preachers. So they ask us to preach, and if there are no places, we would just sit in front of the houses, like on the right. It is just a hall or just a small place where people can accommodate, and they sit on the floors. They are ready to hear the gospel. So we try to teach them by conducting these kind of gospel meetings. And on the left, you see there are one congregation there. We have arranged the gospel meetings, and I do teach in different places of our state, not just within the Kurnool district. I go and visit different places as well. And these are some other pictures of the gospel meetings, and it's just beautiful to share the word with the people who doesn't know about the true God. And on the left, you see it is a street, and there are few people. So wherever we go, it is mostly the women, because men are least bothered about their spirituality. Whereas I think that is the case in everyone's house, where men are really they do not really care about the spirituality, but whereas the wife is struggling to have that spiritual life and make the things work out within the family. So most of the women are interested in hearing in gospel. So it is always the women who comes forward first. So when you see some of the pictures, you see most of the ladies there. So and in the upper picture, it's kind of different. There are men too. That is a good thing. So if the men coming to hear the gospel, that is good, because they want to keep their homes right, and they want to be right inside of the God. So that is a great thing. So, so one more efforts we try to do is we have a brick kiln nearby our town, which is about half an hour. So it's kind of a really big one, where a lot of people from the different parts of our town and different parts of our state would just come here to work in those brick kilns, and they work day in and day out. It doesn't matter what time it is. They just keep on working, and they just live in the small houses until the rainy season. Because once the rainy season starts, they cannot work anymore because of the mud would just be wet all the time. But while they are working over there, they have really small houses. They provide a small shelter for them, and we have been going once in a month. My wife, Honey, and we have visited a couple of times, and one of the times, one of the family invited us to have dinner with them, and it's just a small place. And at one corner she cooks, and the rest of the place they just sleep. And that's where we were sitting and having our dinner. And it was absolutely beautiful for us, because having that kind of experience, going there to see how their lives are, because they value the preachers, and they asked us to have dinner with them, and they love to feed you guys. So it is really good. They have that respect, but at the same time, we take that opportunity to preach the gospel to them. So it is. So there are a lot of people. So this is one of the on the left. There's one of the place where these people are working, and they had a free time, and they just came together to hear the word of God. And as I mentioned earlier, after I got married, even working alongside with my father, I have come aside. It doesn't mean that we are not working anymore. It's just that I have started out a different congregation from scratch, in a sense. We rented out a church building, and then we started out going into community. And we started out with 2 families, but now so far we have about 8 families. On a good day, it is about 30 members. Just keep this congregation in your prayers, because it is mostly where we will be working, and we wanted to grow this congregation, and we want to make sure that we stand. We want to be where you are right now. We want to be in such a way where we can help in others in every way possible. So this is and I also preach in different congregations as well. As I mentioned earlier, I visit different places, different congregations. Some of the congregations, they really do not, though they say that they're members of the Lord's church. Sometimes their teachings, their way of following, sometimes might be varying. So that's where I try to teach them, and if they really are okay with it, if they respect the scriptures, they follow it, and they would even invite us again, so that we can preach much more better, in a better way. As a result of that, we have numerous baptisms, and that is what we aim to, make disciples. That is what the main goal for our ministry. So we have several baptisms, and a few years ago there was this lady in a purple saree. On the right you can see 3 ladies standing there. What I asked, the purple lady, I think purple lady in purple saree, she was the one who has obeyed the gospel when I taught the lesson from John 3 about the new birth. And she has responded to the call. And while we were on the way to the baptism tub, it is kind of really far, not just behind us, So we walked to that place, and then we were standing. I was standing in the baptism tub, and I have asked them, is there still anyone who would like to obey the gospel? And a couple more ladies came forward. So that's when we had to baptize 2 other ladies instead of 1. So that is wonderful news when people like that, this is not just an incident where we give the invitation to the people who are looking at us. We go to the river, and then there are people, you remember Kshatriyas from the caste. So those are the people who wash the clothes. So some people are washing the clothes by the side of a river, and that's where we take some of the people to baptize them. And while they are seeing, we give an invitation to them. We extend our invitation. We tell them about the gospel. Hey, do you want to obey? Sometimes they do, and it is an opportunity for everything is an opportunity for us to share the gospel. So every opportunity leads to a new believer. Apart from the gospel meetings, the workshops for the preachers, and the preachers meetings, we also are involved in the benevolent work. Isn't that the motto of the congregation of the church? So we try to reach out, help the poor, and unfortunately there are lepers in our area. It is sad. It still exists in our place. These people are excluded from our town. They live outside of the town, about 10-15 miles, and they come to the town every single day to beg. That's how they try to make their ends meet. So on the left you see how they make a small stroller, and the husband and wife, they just push around throughout the town and try to get some money. On the left you see a guy reaching out with the medication slip. I personally know him. He doesn't do it with everyone, but those only who knew him. I have been able to. I have personally known him, as they visit very often. So he was requesting me to help him for his medication. So that's when I asked him if that is okay if I take a picture of him, and he said that's fine. So that is how he worked. So what we do is, in a month we try to gather some of the groceries to them, like rice, like dal, pulses, and some sugar, salt, oil, whatever we can. It would cost around 50 to 80 bucks, sometimes even 100. That is more than you can feed a group of 50 people at one time. So every time we get an opportunity, we try to help them. That's where my father, my mother, and myself, and my wife over there are just talking to them, and just when we go there, we even share the word of God, so that let them know that God still loves them, no matter how their condition is, no matter how their physical stature is. So we try to encourage them with the food, with the groceries, and also with the word of God. What are coming to the challenges? What are the challenges we face in our country? Being a Hinduistic country with the Hinduistic politicians in power, it has become really hard past 15 years, because this is the third term where the Hinduistic nationals are ruling in India. And it has been, if you look at, or even if you Google, there is a higher spike in the persecution of Christians during the past 10, 15 years. So persecution has become more recently, and vandalism of the church buildings and houses, and attacking those preachers, those who preach on the streets. So it has become very common. And especially I have even seen some of the videos recently. This is the summertime where most of the churches focus on the children because of the VBS, because they are having vacation, so they try to teach the children. So these Hinduistic people, they come and vandalize the places. They do not want us to teach the children as well. So there are several instances very recently. Apart from these legal and the political pressures as well. So the ruling party, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, their motto is to convert India as a Hinduistic nation. Just like how we have a notion that America is a Christian nation. They want whole India to be a Hinduistic nation. So they do not want any other people. The statements made by these politicians are really intriguing, and they make in such a way they trigger you if you are from a different caste, and that's how the peace has been disturbed past few years. And a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen in the news that there was a terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, where 26 men, just men, not children, not women, just men were just slaughtered in front of their families, children and their wives, because they are from Hindus or they are from Christian background. This is only because of the statements that are made by the Hinduistic politicians. So political pressures are really high these days, and apart from that, anti-conversion laws. There in the north of India, I might have shown you the Indian map. So in the north of India, about 14 to 15 countries, 14 to 15 states have this. So most of this, there was an attack in this place, Jammu and Kashmir, and all these places, in all these states, there in 14 of them, they have the anti-conversion law, where a pastor or a preacher would, if he teaches or on the street, he would be thrown in jail. And there has been numerous cases, numerous people, those who are thrown into jails without any cost. And here, if they want, and the government, they wanted to make these into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and the rest of the states in the south. So one thing that we have common is that we are from the south and you are from the south. So that's a good thing. Hopefully, stay the same, that we have that freedom, and hopefully we have that same freedom, that we can go out and preach the gospel just like we have the freedom here. So, the political pressure is really high, and they are trying to bring the anti-conversion laws. They are trying to bring the anti-conversion laws so that the people cannot. If they do that, every single person has to go to the government before even they wanted to be baptized. 3 months prior to the baptism, and again at the time, they wanted to make sure that he is not pressurized, and also the government has been putting on so many restrictions on foreign support and also foreign preachers. I have personally known a preacher who was trying to come to India in the month of February. He came all down the way from in America to India in 24 hours, and then by traveling on the flight, and then he was questioned at the airport when he landed for 2 hours, and they mentioned him. We know what you are trying to do, so we will not allow that. So you'll have to go back to America. So that's what they said, and they sent him back to America. It's not just the first instance. Some of the missionaries are deported back to America. There are so many brethren who wants to come to India, but they are unable to do that because of the restrictions that the government has been putting on these. And also caste system and the resistance from the families. People who wants to be a Christian, they has to overcome so many things in order to become a Christian. So it takes so much for them, and also the resistance from the families are still there. I just want to play a quick
A local pastor was leading a peaceful church service in Chhattisgarh, India. 3 Hindu nationalist groups burst in, threatening the pastor and demanding he shut down the church completely. The police did come, but instead of protecting the Christians' right to worship, they banned the church from using loudspeakers. This is happening all across India right now. Hindu nationalist groups are trying to stop Christians from gathering to worship. Even when the police show up, they often side with the attackers. If you want to better understand religious persecution around the world, follow along for more.
And also, this is one of the church building in our state called Guntur, and this is a church building that has been built with all the permissions, and they wanted to demolish because they wanted to demolish it, saying that they do not have proper permission. So they just bought a bulldozer, and they just bought a crane, and they just dismantled the whole building. So we face a lot of discrimination, not just from within the caste system, but even from many other people. It's prevalent, and it's not like where you can go to the higher authorities and just complain, hey, this man is showing discrimination against me, and I just can't face it. And it's not like that. It is unfortunate. It happens. We just have to live through it, and we pray and hope that the Lord would intervene and make this a great place that we can have the freedom to preach. We have the freedom to preach the gospel. So, as I was saying, persecution is not new to India. If you remember Apostle Thomas, one of the disciples, he came to India in the 1st century. He was the first missionary who came to India to preach the gospel to the higher caste in India. I have mentioned the southern states. There is a state called Kerala where the Brahmins, the top caste people, are located, and Thomas preached to them. And there are so many evidences, and there are so many Christians who has been converted from them, by Apostle Thomas. And there has been a lot of the spread of the gospel ever since then. But it's just the denominations and the Catholic Church. They have grown so bigger and bigger in the rest of the states. And also in the year 93, if I remember correctly, or maybe in the year 98, there was a Baptist missionary who came all down the way from Australia to India, in one of the northern part of India. Bihar is the state. So he came to there, he came to that state, and he started preaching over there. And one night he wanted to get some rest, so he did in his jeep along with his 2 children. And the Hindu nationalists, they burned alive this jeep and the missionary along with their 2 children in it. And this is the picture from it, and and one of the most encouraging statement that was given by his wife was to forgive those who has done it. Unfortunately, fortunately they caught a guy who did that. But few weeks ago, he has been released because he had a good behavior in the jail, and he has been released in such a way, they made a procession because he came out of the jail. So that's how the people are treated, and the Hindu nationals are being treated that way. And recently there is a guy, his name is Praveen Pagadala. He's from the Christian church, and he is really good in debating with the Hindus and Muslims. And he has filed a case in the Supreme Court about the anti-conversion laws, or about abolishing the anti-conversion law, because those are not to be for the freedom of the individual. So he was to show up on 16th of April in the Supreme Court, but he happened to die in an accident just a month ago. But unfortunately, they have killed him and just portrayed it as an accident. There are many things that went wrong in his case, but there is absolutely nothing the police will do to support the Christians or to encourage them. I am so grateful for the congregations who work who do the missions work, because they take the Lord's commandments seriously. They take the Great Commission seriously. As part of preaching, being a missionary, there are several needs. You have physical and spiritual needs. I mentioned when it comes to spiritual leaders, we need lots of teaching, lots of biblical teaching, because not everyone has a trained preacher. So we need the right teaching to be. We need the right teaching and encouraging the people amid the persecution. So we need to encourage the brethren. And as I mentioned earlier, it is better to focus on the youth and the children ministries, because that is where we can teach them in the right way, and also having the right fellowship. It has been more than a decade that I graduated from the school. When I first went back to India, I was 25 years old, just like Brother Rick said. I don't know, I just heard the pup. I was a young kid, But now, back then I did not have any idea. I was looking for some assistance. I was looking for some encouragement. I was looking for some right fellowship. But guess what the other 25 years were doing? They were in corporate companies trying to make some good money. But whereas I'm here trying to get some experience and trying to teach the gospel. But I was struggling back then. But now I have my wife, who is a great strength for me, and we have a congregation who supports me, and we have a congregation here who strengthens me. Judas was here. You might have remembered, where every time when I come before you, when it's time to leave, it always makes me so sad to leave you people because I don't have this kind of fellowship back there. But no matter what, this time, when Brother Judas was preaching and encouraging us, I was ready to get back home, and I was telling my wife, honey, I'm ready to go home, but because you strengthen us so much, I have been encouraged so much by you, brethren, and that is so good to have that kind of fellowship. And apart from the spiritual needs, we do have physical needs. There are needs there are places that needs for the Bibles and songs books, and also where we lack is the study material. We have so much of material in English, but India being a diverse country, we have language for every state. And unfortunately, India does not speak English throughout. India speaks English throughout India, but we have very less people who can read and understand English. They can speak a little bit, but it's hard for them to read and understand. So we have our own dialect. Every state has a dialect. If I go to Tennessee, they have a different dialect. If I go to Florida, they have a different dialect. If I go to Arkansas or Mississippi, they have a different dialect. So it's hard for us to have material. So we are really in need of that. And the other day, one of my good friends, Rod, he was here, and he works with the house to house, heart to heart, and I was telling him we really lack material. So he strengthened me, he encouraged me, and he said that he would do everything that can be helpful for us in having the study material. And also, as we have seen, no matter where we rent the church building, there will be persecution. We have to minimize our voices while we sing, and we have to be very careful every time when we worship in that church building. We never know when people would just show up and they vandalize the place. So we have to be very careful about those places and support the preachers financially. As Brother Rick mentioned, being supported. I'm so blessed to have the support from the brethren here. But not every preacher is fortunate for that. But most of the preachers do require some support for their needs. They are bivocational preachers, those who work during the daytime. Most of them are farmers. They work in the mornings and then they preach in the evenings. And some of them are electricians, some are plumbers, some are in some sort of way they try to make some money by doing some daily labor work. So daily wages workers are even there. So we need support for the preachers as well. And what right now we wanted to do is to serve the leper colony by providing the groceries and teaching them the gospel, because there are young children that needs to be taught right. And when we go there, they sing songs, and they are ready to hear. My wife absolutely loves their singing. That the children are amazing. It just makes your heart so joy just to see them singing and preaching the gospel who doesn't know God, especially in the villages and the brick colony. And one of the things that the government is making us to do is to register our church with the government so that they know what we are doing. They want to know Christians what they are doing. So they want us to recognize ourselves that there is a church in this place. I do not have what their intention is. I do not know what their intention is, but they want us to be recognized. No matter whether we are recognized or not, there is still persecution. But we just have to be careful. We really don't know what will happen. We just hope and pray that we have that freedom and nothing happens to us. And supporting the fellow preachers in the rural areas. This is some of the plans that we plan to do. Brother Ira Rice would say, world evangelism is not a matter of we can be or can't we. It's a matter of will we or won't we. So we can do something. And I'm so proud of this congregation because this congregation sends the people in a short-term missions and even in the long-term missions. Because there are missionaries who work like us, who work in India and who works in Philippines for a long term. And there are brethren who go to Philippines in a short term, teach there for a couple of weeks, teach them, and a couple of weeks then come back to India. So you can be a goer or you can be a sender. So we should take that great commission very seriously. And also, when it comes to be a sender, we understand not everyone can go. And I'm glad this congregation says that, and they send us. They send, as I mentioned earlier, imagine there is a rural area, just up in the mountains or even down in the valleys. We are there because of your support, because of your encouragement. And I'm glad that you do, and I'm so glad that you get to do that. You can pray for all of us, those who labor in the missions, not just the missionaries. You can pray for the local preacher. You can pray for the local effort that every preacher does in here, and support financially either one time or I'm actually this is supposed to be for other congregations, but I understand every one of you has part in supporting us. And we have WhatsApp, we have newsletters, and we have mails, and Lord willing, anyone can, who are interested, hey Emmanuel, I would just love to come down India and have some curry. You're welcome. Just welcome and just come and be part of the work over there. Again, this slide is for those who for the different congregations. And just like Brother Ira said, it is a matter of will we or won't we. Together, with your support, we can reach the many souls for His kingdom. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask us. If you have any doubts regarding making a curry, you can contact my wife.